Dude, what's up?
How's it going?
This is how you start this shit? Come. Welcome, everybody. What episode is this, Mike?
9, I think.
I'm gonna guess 9. Welcome, everyone, to episode 9 of I'm Rank. As you might have been able to tell, I like Masters of the Universe. Yeah. So I told Mike that today I was gonna talk to him about his character from that show. So we ain't ranking shit today. We're just gonna talk a bit. When everybody thinks about Masters of the Universe, they always remember, you know, the big guy, He-Man, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes riding on his noble steed, Battle Cat, with the power sword, ready to go into battle. Well, fuck him. He's the goody two-shoes. I like this guy. The man, the myth, the legend, Skeletor. So today, we're going to be talking about the origin of Skeletor. Have you ever wondered, where did this weird skeleton man with muscles came up? Why does he have muscles and a skeleton face? Well, today I'm going to tell you. It might not be a very satisfying answer, but it is one. So, play the music.
And the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia, defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull.
We're totally getting copyrighted.
My famous friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull, Ranger became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
The man right there. That's the man we're talking about. I mean, how can you not love that man? Look at this. I mean, sexy, right?
Of course.
Of course. Well, this beautiful specimen of a man is not only sexy, also loves kittens. He's adorable. That's why he rides his steed, Panther, into battle. Always with his weapon of choice, the magic Havoc Staff, which is very powerful. This one is actually one of the MOTU collector figures. You have to buy the Panther or Panther separately, but it's actually one of the top of the line figures. So we do have collectible Skeletors. We have very big Skeletors, like this one. I had a tiny one, seemed to have misplaced. Shit, I ruined my own bit. Oh, wait. We have tiny Skeletors. See? Sometimes they're so tiny, you misplace them. But he didn't start that way, actually. The origin of Skeletor actually goes back to who he was before. And he was Keldor. Many people don't know this, but Keldor is not even just a random blue guy. He's actually He-Man's uncle, because he's the half-brother of King Randor. King Randor in the picture right there. I don't have a figure of him. It's He-Man's father. And Keldor was his half-brother. He was from a different race. I'm going to give you here. Keldor of the House of Miro. He was banished from the royal palace, like you can see in his official bio, in part due to the distrust for the rare blue skin Gar race. He was half Gar, which is why his skin is blue. Prince Skeletor became an outcast. He traveled Eternia seeking knowledge and guidance, eventually discovering the ancient spirit of Hordak. Hordak is one evil motherfucker. From him, Skeletor learned the dark arts and came to realize that to truly unite Eternia, he would need to take command of the planet himself. He gathered an army of fellow outcasts and led them in a battle against his brother, Captain Randor. He was a captain then, he was still not king. Eventually, defeated and near death, Skeletor once again turned to Hordak, who in exchange for his own freedom agreed to save Skeletor's life by merging him with Demo Man, twisting Skeletor into Skeletor, the Lord of Destructions. See, at this point, Hordak was banished to the dark universe of the Spondos.
Okay.
And he couldn't get out. So he actually wanted to trick Skeletor by appeared to him as a spirit, and he was tricking him into like opening a gate so he could return and escape to Eternia. He didn't really do it at the beginning. He just learned what he wanted, and he wanted to conquer Eternia for himself, Skeletor. But this actually turns a little more in the little future. So right now, I wanted to show you the collectible grade figure of Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe Classic line. So you can see the body is very similar to Skeletor, muscle bound with the cross and the two swords and everything. But he's a lot more handsome. It's not a skull. Has the long hair like this. And like I said, he's blue because he's half Gar. So he learned magic from Hordak. But who is this Hordak? Well, like I said, he's a scary motherfucker. Hordak actually was the first person to invade Eternia, but he failed, which is why he was banished to the Smondos. This is his bio. His real name is Hector Kerr. By the way, they made that name up when they released this classic figure. The name fucking sucks. I do not like it. Hordak sounds so much cooler than that. Anyway, he's the evil leader of the evil horde, which is a little redundant, but whatever. He's the second born to the heir of the Horde Empire. Horde Prime is his big brother, but we're not going to talk about him today. I do own a Horde Prime figure. I don't love it, but exists. Hector Kerr arrived on the planet Eternia while battling the Cosmic Warrior Hero. Hero is, there's a lot of lore with He-Man. Sometimes Hero is son of He-Man. In some other timelines, he's from before He-Man, or there's like a previous hero. I don't know. This is a previous hero because this is a story before the origin of Skeletor. So, there's going to be a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
He was battling the Cosmic Warrior Hero, taking the name Hordak. He raised an army and challenged the Snake Man. The Snake Man were also the primary villains of the planet Eternia. They were also banished into the center of the planet. So actually, in later episodes, later story of the He-Man story, he actually Skeletor accidentally releases King Hiss, the leader of the Snake Man, and they take over. They banish all the Skeletor warriors to whatever, and they take over for the whole season, basically to sell Snake Man to kids, Then they bring back Skeletor. So, taking name Hordak, raised an army and challenged the Snake Man for rule over the planet. And although he defeated King Hiss, Grayskull, leader of the Free People of Eternia, succeeded in banishing him to the dimension of the Spondos. It was there that centuries later, Hordak contacted a young alchemist named Skeletor and began teaching him the ways of the dark arts in exchange for freedom from his extra-dimensional prison. So, Hordak teaches Skeletor. Skeletor thinks he's gonna be the biggest fucking badass. Well, Skeletor thinks he's gonna be the fucking badass and like rule the damn planet, right? So he goes and attacks the king, and he brings this little thing, the magic vial of acid that is supposed to melt anything it touches, right?
Okay.
So when he gets a chance at his brother, he throws this thing at his face. His brother blocks it. And actually, it spills over in the face of Skeletor. Like he just falls on Keldor, burns this motherfucker, and he starts actually dying, and he loses his mind. Like, he gets saved by Beastman and Evelyn. Evelyn is one of the witches that works with Skeletor. She actually tries to do a spell to keep him from getting destroyed by the acid, but it kind of freezes it, freezes the damage, but it doesn't really stops the pain or help him with his mind. And he for a while becomes Keldor the Lost, where he was just a melting face monstrosity that didn't make any sense and just ran all over the place screaming in pain and agony. Beautiful, isn't it?
Of course.
So he finally decides to make a deal with Hordak. And Hordak decides, okay, I'm going to save you. But I cannot save you as you are, because you are now incomplete. My magic is not enough. So he decides that he's going to mix him with another creature. So he can technically be alive, but it's going to be a mix of what Keldor was and who is now. So he mixes him up with the creature Demo Man. Who is Demo Man? This thing is Demo Man. Originally, this was one of the art concepts for the development of the Skeletor figure.
Okay.
One before they refined it and shit. So since we are collectors and we buy anything, they decided to actually make a story for this thing. They called it Demo Man, and they made a figure based on that drawing. You see, they even made the little skull with the head that it's in the floor there.
Yeah.
So you can put it in the floor next to Demo Man. His green badassery. Demo Man also has a little bit of a story. His real name is Odezekul Khashambach. That's for trivia. Realizing that his pupil Keldor had no intention of releasing him from the Spondos, Hordak merged him with an extra-dimensional being called Demo Man. While this saved Keldor's life, it also drove him temporarily insane and convinced him to open the portal to the Spondos and lead what he thought were his people into Eternia. Hordak intended to use this ruse, I love it, as a means to escape once the portal was opened, but the new merge, being Skeletor, was quickly defeated by Ular. Ular is the Jungle He-Man. That's another He-Man from the past. And Hordak remained a powerful spirit. And Hordak remained trapped. Soon after, with the help of Evelyn, Skeletor gained control of the powerful spirit of Demo Man inside him, increasing his abilities tenfold. And he was now the true overlord of evil and one of the most dangerous men in Eternia. He basically got saved, temporarily gained insanity. Hordak's escape. Skeletor was like, He got put back in there. And Skeletor became Skeletor, which is a magical demonic being mixed with a God race creature. Hordak, what I actually have over here, it's actually a nice figure. Hordak eventually gets to escape from the Spondos. Actually, it spins off into his own thing, because the first thing he does when he gets out of the Spondos is he goes to Eternia and kidnaps He-Man's sister, Adora. Like a baby girl, and he just takes her away. He goes to the planet of Eteria. It's like a sister planet to Eternia.
Okay.
And in Etheria, he raises her as his own. She tells her that he saved her from whatever, and she actually becomes like a very savage, mean general called the Despara. Like, the Despara is a crazy bitch. In the adult version of the story, she's one mean motherfucker. She cuts off the heads of people and everything. Has a mask that she wears that looks like the face of Hordak. And when He-Man shows up, like, hey, dude, you're like my sister, and you're supposed to be on the other side of this thing. Here's your sword. And she's like, oh, shit, I fucked up. Well, in the cartoon version, apparently she didn't do anything evil for 16 years, and she just like, oh, yeah, I always thought the evil Horde was kind of evil. And I like the Despara version better. So she turns into She-Ra, and then She-Ra does her own thing in Etheria, right? I actually do like that the two shows kind of mirror each other, because in Eternia, or the home of He-Man, basically the kingdom is the good guys. The kingdom, the rulers, the government, everything. And the rebels is Skeletor and his bunch of people like, hey, we're going to take over this Grayskull. But they never really do, right?
Yeah.
So in Eternia, the Horde actually wins. They're the rulers of the planet. Hordak is king, and the evil Horde rules. And then the rebels are this bunch of little girls and one guy with a heart in his chest. And they are the Great Rebellion. Not so great, but, you know. Okay, so, like I said, Skeletor. Acid to Randor. Randor blocks it. Melts his face. Comes insane. Dying. Deal with Hordak. Hordak merges him with Demo Man and actually creates Skeletor. This one is a little crappy on the quality because this is a very old figure and there's not really many images of this. Mortally wounded in battle with his half-brother Captain Randor, Keldor turned his dark arts to master Hordak to save his life. Hordak merged Keldor with an extra-dimensional being. You can tell at this time they had not decided the name was Demo Man.
Yeah.
Changing him forever into Skeletor, Overlord of Evil. He gathered together many of Eternia's greatest outcasts and evil warriors in his quest to gain entry into Castle Grayskull and obtain what he believes the universe's ultimate power. And there have been many figures of Skeletor. But like I said, some big, some small, but this is actually probably my favorite one. They always have some changes. Like sometimes his feet with boots. That's more like the cartoon version. Other times his monster feet like this. He always has his trusted magic staff, Havoc staff is they call, and he always has the evil version of He-Man's power sword. In the original toy, it was like half Skeletor and half He-Man, and they merged them to like have the one power sword, because that's the thing. Like, who rules Castle? That was the original concept for the cartoon. Like, who rules Castle Grayskull? Rules Eternia. Even the castle came like with two sides for the flag, so you can put like who is controlling the castle right now, and you had to have Skeletor and He-Man to put together the one power sword, right? The cartoon changed it a bit, but that's basically the concept. Other than that, I want to talk a little bit. There have been actually many versions of Skeletor. There's like this intergalactic Skeletor, like it's a future version, like he almost got killed and then he had to like mechanically fix his head and he became intergalactic Skeletor and he fights He-Man's son, which is called Hero, like I said. I do have that figure, but I hate it. It's kind of stupid. I don't like it. They also made like Battle Skeletor and whatever. But we're going to talk one more version of Skeletor for today. Probably, I don't know if it's famous for the right reasons, but it is a little famous. The movie version of Skeletor. Look at that thing. It's beautiful. So that is Frank Langella, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, under that makeup. The only thing I don't love about it is that obviously they didn't find a way to cover his eyes. So you can see that there's eyes behind the skull. I would have preferred if they can found a way to like make it all black and it just looked like a hole. This Skeletor also has his own story. Skeletor triumphant. After finally using the stolen cosmic key, doesn't exist in anything but the movie, just go with it, to beam his forces of army of orcs, skeletons, centurions, and a robot knight battalion into the palace of Etheros, Skeletor claimed the scepter of power. What is this shit? Adorned with the black robes of the ancient Gar kings and armor forged by Spikewar, in the heat of the magic fire of Dragoman, Skeletor raised his Havoc Staff, itself transformed with secrets stolen from the Faceless One. I love how every single name has the R of registered, like, or as a symbol of Skeletor's new Imperial Order, while his fight with his rival He-Man reached into the cosmos, Skeletor eventually fell in battle, only to be reborn again years later with the magic of his secret bride, Evelyn. Holy shit, he married Evelyn in the movie. Ugh. Who fashioned her own regal attire after that of her mother, Queen Maligna. His deadly visage temporarily misshapen by the effect of the life-giving scepter of power, Skeletor regained his kingly garments and once again united the armies of darkness under the Skull Sigil. Now facing both twins of powers of Eternia, Skeletor sought the Dark Alliance as a plot to steal the divinity of the old gods, including the evil snake goddess Serpentia. This is a lot of crap. I mean, some of these characters actually exist in the you know, like, what's the word that people use? Canon. In the canon.
Yeah.
Some of these things exist in canon, just not the way they are put here. It's all right. I don't hate Frank Langella's version of Skeletor. Actually, I disliked it enough that I bought the figure.
Of course you did.
But this is also a funny story. They never actually signed their likeness rights for this. So there never were He-Man Masters of the Universe, the movie toys.
Oh, okay.
And actually, to this day, they technically aren't. What they could finally do, they got in contact with the costume designer, a man called William Stout. So they decided to release the William Stout collection, which is 4 figures based on the production design clothes and things from the movie. So Skeletor is easy because, you know, he's a face mask and it doesn't really have a person's likeness, right?
Yeah.
So they actually could do it exactly like it. He look. I don't know if you can see it. I haven't opened this one. I don't know if you can see his face there. It looks very close to the thing, and he's wearing the design of the robes of the dark mages from the movie. So it's actually a pretty cool figure. Yeah. Later in the movie, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. Have you seen Masters of the Universe, the movie?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Once.
Well, he gets the power of Grayskull.
Oh, okay.
In the end of the movie. Boom. Power of Grayskull. Makes you golden, boy. So, I don't know what happened here. I have never seen Skeletor like this. Not even close. Apparently, getting the power of Grayskull turned you into a giant gold. I don't know, a fetish? Gold fetish addict, something? I don't know. He has his own little story. God Skeletor. For a second I thought it was the Gold Skeletor. After his epiphany at the Celestial Library, Skeletor hatched a complex plan that transcended even his death and resurrection. Scheming to steal the power of knowledge of the gods, Skeletor absorbed energies from the Star Tree, trademark, which transmuted his blood into a godly ichor. He deceived Adam into restoring captured Grayskull, register mark, and tricked evil snake goddess into divulging the language of the gods, enable him to decipher the divine secrets of Grayskull's great eye, trademark, forcing He-Man, registered, to surrender the Sword of Power, trademark. Before the great eye opened, Skeletor was sublimely transformed, clad in golden armor and horn helm. He proclaimed his godhood and demanded that He-Man kneel. Refusing, He-Man broke his bonds and grabbed hold of his blade, called upon the power of Grayskull, and battling Skeletor in the fiercest clash the universe had ever seen. With a titanic blow, He-Man shatters Skeletor's Havoc Staff, closing the great eye forever and reverting Skeletor to his mortal state. Furious, the villain rushed wildly at his archenemy, but fell through Grayskull's trapdoor into the Duel of Souls, trademark. Later, from within the darkness, a voice intoned, "I'll be back." And now I'll be back. That was the post-credit scene. He fell through a dark hole at the end of the movie. Apparently called.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And if you stay for like 10 minutes and you watch all the credits, he actually jumps out of the end like, "I'll be back." He did not get to be back. Like we all know by now.
Yeah.
So, of course, something that fancy needs his own version.
Yeah.
It's actually very... got dark on me right now. Let's see if that helps. So, this is the golden version. The God version of Skeletor. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have also the He-Man version, but we're not talking about fucking He-Man today, so I did not bring that. Sadly, it doesn't really look like Dolph Lundgren. You know, because he was supposed...
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be able to because of the rights thing. So you get the suits, you get kind of Dolph Lundgren, but you get a very freaking cool Skeletor. And from the movie, they actually made another character called Commander Karg, but he sucks. So forget it. So that's another interesting version of Skeletor. One not as great as the original one, but pretty good indeed. So basically, in summary, Keldor tries to fuck up his brother with acid. Gets blown into his own fucking face. Gets into the phone. Calls Hordak. Yo, who's trapped in the Spondos. Hordak is like, okay, I will save you, but I have to merge you with a demon. Demo man. Screws him over. Escapes. They get put back. Skeletors get stronger. And gets a fucking panther. This is actually a pretty good figure. No panther needed. He's a fucking badass, honestly. I love Skeletor. And what you get in the end is one badass man. Look at that thing.
That's awesome.
Sexy, loves cats, kicks your ass. What else can I say? I do love the man. We might do a He-Man episode. Probably not, though. Since we don't really go back to shit. Right? So I guess that's what we have for you guys today. If you didn't know the origin of Skeletor, you do now.
Yes.
If you already knew it, then why were you watching this? See you next week, guys. I don't think we'll rank some shit. Maybe we will rank shit. Bye-bye.
Your eyes so nice, like